The Sarasota real estate market is shifting from sellers to buyers. What does that mean, and what do buyers and sellers need to know in this market? Let's dive into August 2025 Sarasota Real Estate Market Report. Hi, I'm Lily Wallman, your dedicated real estate agent in Sarasota and the Bradenton area. I'm putting out market report like this every month, so make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any information. Let's first understand some key metrics. First is the median price. That's the midpoint of all sales. Half sold for less and half sold for more. And months of supply indicate how long it would take to sell all inventory at current pace. If it takes less than 6 months to sell all inventory, that's a seller's market. If it's more than 6 months, then it's a buyer's market. Right around 6 months, that's a balanced market. Time to contract, also known as days on market. So that's days from listing a property to accept an offer. It's a direct measure of market speed and a buyer urgency. Sales to list ratio. That's a percentage of asking price seller actually received. It shows who holds the negotiation power and how well homes are priced. Inventory and active listing. That is how many homes are available for sale on the market right now. And close the sales, that's the number of homes that are actually closed or sold at any given month. Nationally, Redfin called the summer of 2025 the strongest buyer's market on record, with more sellers than buyers for the first time in years. And right here in Sarasota, Wolf Street ranked us ninth in the entire country for the biggest price declines, down nearly 9% year over year. But Sarasota is also unique. Our lifestyle appeal and a cash heavy buyer base mean we don't always move in sync with other metros. Let's now dive into the single family home market. So for median price, it's 475K in August of 2025. It's holding stable even as market cools. And months of supply is sitting at 5.2 months, approaching a balanced market. Times to contract. So days on market is at 69 days and it's up 50% from last year. It's definitely taking longer to sell a house. Now the sales to final list, it's at 99.7%. It looks really good. However, if you look at the sales to original listing price, it's dropped to 95.3%. That's an indication that sellers started off a bit too high and then they have to adjust the price to align with the market demand. And the close to sales is 641 units. It's about the same as last year. So the demand remains steady. And inventory or active listings is sitting at 3,393, and that is a double digit jump from last year. Let's now take a look at the single family home key comparisons. This is a 12-month trend comparison between the sold homes versus available homes. The 12-month trend shows a distinct seasonal patterns. Sold homes peak in pre-summer months like at March and April, indicating a strong spring buyer activity. The inventory also steadily increased through the winter months and peaked in April and declined in summer. The second key comparison I want to mention in a single family home market is the sold price as a percentage of final listing price versus the original listing price. As we mentioned before, the final sold price compared to the final listing price, it aligned pretty well in the upper 90s. However, if you look at the final sold price compared to the original listing price, it dropped to somewhere between the low 90s to mid 90s. It just shows a significant gap between the original asking price and the final adjusted price. Again, it indicates that sellers might be a bit too aggressive at the beginning, but had to adjust to align with the market. Now let's take a look at the condo market. So the condo data here includes duplex, townhouse, villas, and of course condominiums. So the mid price here is $300,000. and it dropped 13% from last year. Months of supply is sitting at 8 months. It's firmly a buyer's market. Time to contract is at 84 days, and selling definitely takes a lot longer. The sales to final sold price is at 94.3%, and buyers definitely holding a negotiation power. Sales to original listed price dropped down to 87.7%. That's just a huge gap between sellers' expectation versus market response. The closed sales at 233 units. That's a 14% jump from last year, surprisingly. That means the demand is there, but buyers has more negotiating power in terms of price. Inventory and active listing is at 1,965. It's also a double-digit climb from last year. So let's also take a look at some key components for the condo market. This is a 12-month trend between the sold condo versus available properties. Similar as single family homes, condos also holds a similar pattern. The sales peaks in pre-summer months and tapers off during the summer. And the second key comparison in the condo market is the 12-month trend of sold price as a percentage of final listing versus original listing price. So the gap between original listing price and the final adjusted price is even more significant than in a single family home market. Condo sellers need to adjust their expectations if a smooth and a quicker sale is desired. So, why are properties sitting longer? Rising costs like insurance and HOA fees are holding back the demand, especially in condo market. And while mortgage rates have eased slightly, they're still sitting above 6%. That slows buyers' decision-making process. Let's now take a look at some macro indicators. The mortgage rates peaked at 6.56% in August, but dropping to about 6.3% by late September. So that's a relief, but not enough to stimulate market demand. Employment rate is at 4.4%. It remains healthy, but the upward trending combined with the higher borrowing cost explains buyers' hesitation. National inflation has been stabilized between 3 to 3.5% through the summer of 2025, which is much lower than the peak time in 2022, but it's still higher than Federal Reserve's 2% target. So what does that all mean for buyers? Since buyer now has more inventory to choose from, it means that you can be choosy and you can take all the time you want to find the right fit. As to values, especially in the condo market, it offers significant value with double-digit price decline. As to negotiation powers, leverages on price, repairs, inspections, and seller concessions. We haven't seen this level of negotiation power for years. For outlook, how long will this situation last? Once the Fed drops rate, people flock into Florida again, the price may go up, inventory may go down, and bidding wars may start again. Exactly when will that happen? We don't know, but something to watch out for. As for sellers, the key is to price it competitively from day one. Overpricing will only extend your time on market. Let data guide your pricing strategy. Final sale price is determined by the buyer or the market, not the seller nor the listing agent. Had to keep that in mind. The other critical component is how you present your house. Staging, curb appeal, and professional marketing make the crucial difference in today's market. Declutter and remove personal preference to help buyers envision themselves living in the house is incredibly important. You also need to embrace flexibility. That means you need to be prepared to negotiate on price, terms, and timings to secure the right buyers. And it's critical for sellers to partner with market experts, working with professionals who understand how to position your property in the transitional market. So if you're thinking about making a move, let's connect. I have put together a seller's guide and a buyer's guide for you to download. You can also book a call for a free consultation or text me. I've also included a relocation guide and toolkit. Together, we'll create a plan that fits your goals and today's market realities.